Hello, my name is Isadora and I will be talking about the types of differentiated instruction and behavioral supports teachers should use in the classroom, as well as what I have observed at PS 31 in Queens as a student teacher in the 4th grade. I have noticed that many L students and IEP students have difficulty staying on task. Therefore, they seem confused, lost, and have unclear expectations of the task that is at hand. This is a problem that we have faced today. Here is an example of how to tie a tie. Although it shows only 2 steps, many students will not be able to understand these directions and as a result will not achieve these tasks. This is a good example of how to have clear instructions of how to tie a tie. There is a clear expectation of what you should achieve after each step, unlike the previous image. Teachers need to allow students to master each step before moving to the next, so that all students can lead to achievement. To achieve this, it is important to give students choices. According to Gardner and his theory of multiple intelligences, says that each person learns in a unique way. Whether a child is a linguistic learner who learns verbally, or a spatial learner who learns best with puzzles and drawings, or a kinesthetic learner that uses his or her body to learn, or even a musical learner where the student progresses well with learning using instruments, or a naturalistic learner that can learn while doing activities outdoors, or a logical and mathematical learner that can learn through problem solving and thinking activities. There's also interpersonal learners that learns best working in groups, or an intrapersonal learner who learns best independently. Some instructional strategies that teachers can use in the classroom are using a color coding system for the visual learners. This is very helpful because students can follow along the chart and locate where the next step is. In addition, using mnemonic devices such as MAD for converting mixed numbers to improper fractions, students will know to multiply, then add, then keep the denominator. Graphic organizers also help students organize their writing, and this is a way teachers can state their clear expectation of the student to achieve this activity. Again, it is important to give students choices to allow them to be more independent, especially when it targets the different learning styles of the student. Using rotational centers are a very good idea. For instance, this classroom has several stations happening at the same time. While students rotate every 10 minutes, this allows students to meet at each station and enhance their learning skill. There is a read to self station, read to someone station, listen to reading station, work on writing station, and a word work station. Some activities that students can do at these is using tiles, magnetic letters for word building, geoboard, use of whiteboards, Play-Doh, and other activities. This is an example of a kindergartner spelling out her name at one of the stations set up in the room. We can integrate a listening center for the linguistic audio learners to listen to audiobooks while following along with the text. In addition, the integration of technology is very important for many learners. Kinesthetic learners can go up on the board, mathematical learners can solve problems, visual learners can learn better with videos. Additionally, the use of the iPad can reach many learners via playing games and solving problems, and watching videos can help almost any learner. As for behavioral supports, there are essentially 2 ways of looking at functions of behavior. One is to talk about behaviors that get something and behaviors that avoid something. As for getting or obtaining something, the reasons for our behavior is for attention, to get a tangible item, play an activity, receive an automatic reinforcement, or just a sensory stimulation. As for avoiding or escaping something, the reasons for our behavior is for avoiding or escaping workload, sensory overload, transitions between subjects, social situations, and sensory stimulation. Attention-seeking behavior serves to gain attention of a person or a reaction from the environment. For example, when a student is screaming about something and the teacher walks over to the student and talks to him. A tangible item simply means that the individual's challenging behavior is reinforced by getting a desired activity or item. For example, I'm standing in the kitchen and start to scream. Mom gets stuff out of the cupboard and starts offering it to me. When she gives me a cookie, I stop screaming. The escape and avoidance means that the behavior is being reinforced by getting out of a situation or avoiding it altogether. An example of this is Sally is sitting in the general education classroom during music and starts to scream. Her behavior becomes so disruptive that the teacher removes her from the classroom. In essence, she is avoiding or escaping the situation. Automatic reinforcement means that the student's behavior is reinforced by a reaction in his or her own body. For instance, when a student taps his pencil on the table during a difficult situation, an automatic reinforcement is involved because it has a calming effect on the student. There are ways to prevent the behaviors from happening in the classroom. First, it's good to change the physical environment. Increase predictability. Prepare your activities from beforehand. Have visual supports and guidance of behavior. Have visual schedules so that students have expectations. Again, provide choices. We should always give a reinforcement in a non-contingent way. Have social narratives. Modify and accommodate your demands. Modify instruction and exercise throughout the day with breaks. This is an example of a classroom that has clear expectations. This is a contingency map for a student to know what will happen when a good or bad behavior occurs. Using a reinforcement system such as a token economy, students can build up tokens to trade it in for a reinforcement, such as an iPad break. In my 4th grade class, we use Class Dojo, and my teacher has mentioned that it is very effective when you give positive reinforcement rather than negative. Examples of positive reinforcement using the Dojo app is that parents are able to see if the student was on task, respectful, helping others, and participating in some way. Teachers can also use this as a token economy, and students can trade in the amount of points that they get for a reward. Thank you for listening, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.